Good morning, everybody. How's everybody night? Is everybody doing good today? Today is Friday, March 25th, 2022, and we are live at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport again today. And if you checked your notifications, we will be live at JFK Airport on the 29th, which is Tuesday of next week. Departing Atlanta, is Delta Airlines Flight 1144 en route to Ontario. It would be Delta Flight 1424 departing Atlanta and arriving to its destination of St. Thomas, and that was a Boeing 757-251, and that aircraft is 20 years old. And departing Atlanta is Delta Airlines Flight 2601 en route to its destination of Baltimore, and that is a Boeing 737-932 aircraft, and that aircraft is 5 years old. Departing Atlanta is Delta Airlines Flight 1425 to its destination of Daytona Beach. And that aircraft is a Boeing 737-932 also. And that aircraft is also 5 years old. And arriving from Houston is United Express Flight 6239, and that was a 688-mile trip that took an hour and 32 minutes to arrive to Atlanta. Arriving to Hartsfield-Jackson, Atlanta International Airport, that is Delta Airlines Flight 596, arriving from Cancun, Mexico. This was an 880-mile trip for these passengers. That took under 2 hours to arrive, exactly 2 hours to arrive to Atlanta. This aircraft is a Boeing 757-232, and this aircraft's age is 26 years old. DJ4, I am doing great this morning. How are you? Departing Atlanta en route to its destination of Sarasota, Florida, with Delta Airlines Flight 2828. And these passengers are aboard a aircraft Airbus A321-211, and this trip for those passengers is 445 miles. This aircraft is 2 years old of age. And arriving at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, this would be Delta Airlines Flight 2635 from Jacksonville, Florida. And this trip was 270 miles for these passengers, under 45 minutes to arrive to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And the aircraft these passengers were on board was a Boeing 757-232, 30 years of age. And in short terms, this is a short trip. 45 minutes is a short trip. That's what we call a short trip. Thank you, Disney Dave 44 for the super chat. And Disney Dave says, love and seeing Atlanta operations, busiest hub in the U.S. We thank you for that super chat. USA Livestreams TV appreciates all its viewers and its subscribers. And like Disney Dave 44, if you'd like to send a super chat sticker, all you have to do is push that $sign that is in that chat box and send us your message, and we will read it here live on air. And departing Atlanta, headed to Pensacola, with Delta Airlines Flight 1706. This is a 269-mile, 50-minute trip for these passengers aboard an aircraft Boeing 737-932, 3 years of age. And for those that are viewing, we are on the opposite side of the airport. We are at runway 27 left, 27R, 9 left, 9R off of Sullivan Road, up to 285, and Lake Mirror Road. And departing Atlanta and arriving to its destination of Washington is Southwest Airlines Flight 1583. This aircraft is a Boeing 737-7H4, 14 years old in age. And this trip for these passengers is 549 miles. And departing Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport to Punta Cana is Delta Airlines Flight 1900. And this flight is 1,439 miles to its destination. And these passengers are aboard an Airbus aircraft A321-211. And this aircraft is 3 years old in age. And just arriving to Atlanta from Fort Myers, Florida, is Delta Airlines Flight 1475. This is a 515-mile trip for these passengers that took an hour and 12 minutes to arrive to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Aboard aircraft Boeing 757-232, and this aircraft is 31 years old in age. And departing Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport en route to Savannah, Georgia is Delta Airlines Flight 2743, and that would be an Airbus aircraft A321-211. And this trip for these passengers is 218 miles, and this aircraft is 4 years old. Right behind that aircraft, departing Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport to Providence is Delta Airlines Flight 2329. And this is a 906 miles for these passengers to arrive to its destination of Providence aboard an aircraft Airbus A320-212. And this aircraft is 24 years old in age. And departing Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, this would be Southwest Airlines Flight 813 en route also to Fort Myers, Florida, which is a 515-mile trip for the passengers aboard this aircraft Boeing 737-7H4. And this aircraft is 22 years old. That is a beautiful picture of that Southwest Airlines flight in flight. And departing Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, this would be Southwest Airlines Flight 686. And its destination is Tampa, Florida. And this trip for these passengers is 407 miles to Tampa aboard an aircraft Boeing 737-8H4. This aircraft is 9 years old, and they are headed to the Sunshine State. It is spring break down there, where curfew's in effect in most of the beach cities in Florida because of the recent crime wave down there in Florida. And a lot of people are upset about that. Then departing Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport this morning is Spirit Airlines Flight 1304, and its destination is Baltimore, Maryland, which is a 579-mile trip for these passengers aboard an aircraft type Airbus A320-271N. And this aircraft is brand new. And just arriving to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport is Flight 9001 from Denver, Colorado. And that trip was 1,199 miles for these passengers, which took 2 hours and 23 miles to arrive to Atlanta aboard an aircraft Boeing 737-7BD, 15 years of age. And as you know, the Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado yesterday caught on fire and caused substantial damage for the Broncos fans that will be sitting in those seats at the Mile High Stadium. And that fire was yesterday at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. This would be Delta Airlines Flight 2595 departing Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport en route to Columbia. This is a 195 mile trip for these passengers aboard a Boeing aircraft 7172BD. This aircraft is 21 years old in age. Laura, we are on the other side of the airport today, off of runways 27R, 9 left, and 9 right, and 27 left, off of Lake Amira Road and Sullivan Road, off the 285. So we are on the south side of the airport instead of on the north side where we've been live streaming the planespotting from. So today we're, since our viewers wanted us to be on this side today for the bigger flight. And this would be Southwest Airlines flight 1274 to Richmond, Virginia. And this trip is 484 miles for these passengers aboard the aircraft Boeing 737-7BD. 15 years of age this aircraft is. And just look at that beautiful underbelly of that aircraft as it's in flight. And en route to Orlando, Florida, departing Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, is Delta Airlines Flight 2816. And this is a 405-mile trip for these passengers aboard an aircraft Boeing 767-332. The age of this aircraft is 31 years old. So in other news this week, Delta announced all 75,000 employees will receive a 4% pay increase. And they haven't seen a pay increase since the pandemic started 2.5 years ago. So, you know, Delta is going to give all 75,000 employees a 4% pay increase. And arriving to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, Delta Airlines Flight 1763 from San Juan. And this flight was 1,547 miles, took 3 hours and 18 minutes to arrive to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And these passengers were aboard an aircraft Boeing 757-232. And this aircraft is 21 years old in age. And in other aviation news this week, TSA has announced it will invest $781 million in a new X-ray machine, sophisticated with algorithms of 3D imaging of carry-ons on passenger planes. $781 million for X-ray machines. Unbelievable. And that would be Delta Airlines Flight 1937 in flight to San Jose, 1,627-mile trip for these passengers aboard a Boeing 757-232, 30 years in age. Yeah, and I get, just like everybody's probably thinking, $781 million for X-ray machines. You know, it's like this. If the system isn't broken, you know, leave it alone. You know, I mean, we haven't had no types of incidents on these flights in a long time. So an upgrade of $780 million for an X-ray machine that shows, you know, sophisticated algorithms of 3D images of carry-ons, man, we could be spending that $781 million on a lot of other issues and problems that are going on in our country today. And that would be Southwest Airlines Flight 1696, departing Atlanta to Orlando, Florida. And these passengers aboard the aircraft Boeing 737-8H4, 5 years in age. And arriving at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport would be American Airlines Flight 1046, arriving from Miami, Florida. And this trip was 595 miles for these passengers aboard an aircraft Boeing 737-823. And this aircraft is 21 years of age. I see Gary is in the chat. Welcome back, Gary. And arriving from West Palm Beach, Florida is Delta Airlines Flight 1496. And that trip was 545 miles, took an hour and 17 minutes to arrive at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport for those passengers aboard an aircraft Airbus A321-211, and that aircraft is 4 years old in age. And departing is Southwest Airlines flight 1145 from Hartsfield-Jackson, and due to arrive at Miami International in Miami, Florida, and that is 596-mile trip for those passengers aboard an aircraft Boeing 737 MAX 8, 2 years old in age. And we talked about earlier this week about, you know, the gentleman, former Boeing pilot, was found not guilty for providing false and incomplete info to the FAA about key control flight control system on the 737 MAX, that there was a global grounding of these aircraft, and that was blamed for 2 crashes in 2019 in Indonesia and Ethiopia. And that guy was they were just trying to use that guy as a scapegoat for what happened, is what everybody believes, but he was found not guilty for deceiving the FAA about the 737 MAX Super 8s. That would be Delta Airlines flight 1601 that arrived from Jacksonville. That was a 270-mile trip for those passengers, which we call a short-term trip, because it was under an hour at 46 minutes to arrive to Atlanta aboard an aircraft Boeing 757-232. And that aircraft is 22 years in age. Arriving on runway 27R is Delta Airlines flight 2234 from Austin, Texas. This trip was 812 miles. Took an hour and 44 minutes to arrive to Atlanta. These passengers were aboard an aircraft Airbus A321-211. This aircraft is 2 years in age. You're okay, Gary. Just arriving is Delta Airlines flight 1473 from Colombia. 192 miles this trip was for those passengers. That took 41 minutes to arrive at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And the aircraft type is a Boeing 717-2BD, 22 years of age. and arriving is Air Transport International Flight 3247 from Chicago. And this aircraft would be a Boeing 767-232, 38 years. Oh man, this is a 38 years old aircraft. This Boeing 767. That's the oldest one we've featured on the live. 38 years old. And as a reminder, welcome everybody to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. This is USA live stream TV planespotting. And remember that the chat rules that apply almost in everybody's chat is just to be a simple, just be respectful. We do accept humor here and jokes. No spamming and no threats, no racism and no doxing. We have zero tolerance for any of that here, just like any chat would. But feel free to talk amongst each other and ask our USA live streams TV director any question you like, and we will answer it as best as we can. And remember, we will be live at JFK Airport on March 29th, which is 4 days away, making it Tuesday of next week. And departing to Atlanta to Richmond, Virginia, it's Delta Airlines Flight 2257, and that aircraft is a Boeing 737-832, and that aircraft is 20 years old as you watch it in flight, and a beautiful underbelly that plane has. That would be the Air Transport International flight. And like I said earlier, that's a Boeing 767-232 aircraft, 38 years old in age, the oldest aircraft we've featured on this channel. So currently the temperature at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport is 54 degrees and the wind is at 14 miles an hour in a southeast direction. Arriving to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, this Delta Airlines flight from Tampa, 2596. This is a 460-mile trip for these passengers, which was an hour flight. And these passengers are on board aircraft Boeing 757-232 232, and the age of this aircraft is 23 years old. And arriving from Cancun, Mexico, is Delta Airlines Flight 609. And this was an 880-mile trip for the passengers, which took under an hour and 51 minutes to arrive at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And these passengers boarded aircraft Boeing 757-232, 29 years of age. Understand our cameraman down there at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport is in direct wind, which is 14 miles an hour in the southeast direction, which the direction of that wind would be hitting the front of our camera. So he's doing the best he can to bring us this live feed under the conditions of southeast 14 to 15 mile an hour winds that he has to endure holding that camera on his shoulder. And arriving from Delta Airlines is 2619 flight number 2619 from Birmingham, Alabama. And this trip is 133 miles for these passengers, which we use the term short trip because it only took 35 minutes to arrive at Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport aboard an aircraft Boeing 737-932, and this aircraft is 4 years of age. Yeah, DJ4, a lot of the viewers yesterday and subscribers wanted, the other side of the airport runways. And unfortunately, if he was on the other side recording, the wind would be towards his back. But unfortunately, this morning, the wind is toward the camera lens, which is at 13 to 14 miles an hour in the southeast direction. So it's hitting him right in the face instead of hitting him in the back. So he's doing the best that he can to bring us this live. So just be patient, people. And this is Delta Connections Flight 5232 arriving to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport from Augusta. And this aircraft is a Mitsubishi CRJ 900, 8 years old in age. And arriving is Delta Airlines Flight 1420 from Dallas, Texas. And this was a 731-mile trip aboard an aircraft Airbus A321-211. And the age of this aircraft is 4 years old. Woo! That would be the underbelly of Delta Airlines Flight 1399 departing Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And this trip is 583 miles for the passengers aboard a Boeing 757-232, and that aircraft is 30 years of age. That would be Delta Airlines Flight 1089 in flight, departed from Atlanta to Miami, Florida. And that was a Boeing 757. And arriving to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport is Delta Airlines Flight 1418 from New Orleans, Louisiana. And that aircraft, those passengers are aboard, is a Boeing 737-932, 6 years of age. .763 Eagle you do a lot of flying. That is American Airlines Flight 1777, departing Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, en route to Phoenix, Arizona. Those passengers are aboard an aircraft Airbus A321-211 That aircraft is 20 years old, and the flight for these passengers to Phoenix, Arizona is 1,583 miles in distance from Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Also departing is Delta Connections Flight 5448 to Columbus. And those passengers are aboard an aircraft type Mitsubishi CRJ-200. And this aircraft, as we take a look at its beautiful underbelly, is 17 years old in age. Yeah, I get it. 763 Eagle. It's just it's a memory. It's a, to look back on. A time and date to remember, and that would be Delta Airlines Flight 2233 departing Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport to Key West, Florida. And this flight is 646 miles for these passengers aboard an aircraft Airbus A319-114, and this aircraft is 18 years old in age. In the air is Delta Airlines Flight 301 en route to Charlotte. A Boeing 717 is the aircraft, -231, 21 years of age. There is American Airlines Flight 982 taxiing to the tarmac. Arriving from Dallas. And that is a Boeing 737-823 aircraft, 4 years in age. And just overhead, arriving to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, this would be Delta Airlines Flight 1633, arriving from Orlando, Florida. And this trip was under 404 miles for these passengers, which took an hour to arrive to Atlanta aboard a Boeing 757-232, and this aircraft is 23 years old in age. and just arriving from Gainesville to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, this would be Delta Airlines Flight 346. And these passengers are aboard a Boeing 717-2BD. 22 years old this aircraft is. And this was a 300-mile, 48-minute short trip to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport for those passengers. Welcome to Atlanta. It is 57 degrees outside. The winds are currently at between 14 miles per hour in a southeast direction. How is everybody's day going today, and what does everybody have planned for later on? As we watch Delta Airlines Flight 1929 depart Atlanta to Monterey, and these passengers are aboard an aircraft Airbus A39-114, 19 years old in age, to Monterey. Arriving to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, that would be Delta Airlines Flight 2315 from Panama City. This flight was just over 240 miles, which we term short trip because it was under 43 minutes to arrive from Panama City to Atlanta. And these passengers are aboard a Boeing 717-2BD type aircraft, and this aircraft is 20 years old in age. Welcome to Atlanta. It is 57 degrees outside currently. And departing Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport is Delta Airlines Flight 2664 en route to Panama City. And these passengers are aboard an aircraft Boeing 717-2BD, and that aircraft is 19 years old in age. And arriving to Hartsfield-Jackson International from Fort Walton Beach is Delta Airlines Flight 2297, and this flight was 249 miles, under 43 minutes to arrive at Atlanta, and these passengers were aboard an aircraft type Boeing 737-832, and this aircraft is 22 years old in age. As we watch Delta Airlines flight depart to Tampa, Florida. This is Delta Airlines flight 2150, and it's an aircraft Boeing 757-232 with the beautiful underbelly, as it's in flight to Tampa, Florida, and this aircraft is 31 years old. That would be Delta Connections flight 4659, departing Atlanta to Georgetown. And that is a Mitsubishi CRJ 900 jet that's 14 years old in age. That would be Spirit Airlines Flight 1078, arriving from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And that is an aircraft Airbus A321-231. 5 years in age, that aircraft. And arriving is Delta Airlines Flight 1841 from Kingston to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And that aircraft is a Boeing 737-832, 22 years in age. And departing, that would be American Eagle Flight 4887 from Atlanta to New York. And that aircraft there was a Emperor E-175, 7 years of age. And arriving is Delta Airlines Flight 1697 from Myrtle Beach. And that is a Boeing 717 aircraft dash 213, 22 years old in age. That would be Delta Airlines Flight 1553 arriving to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport from Huntsville. And that is aircraft Boeing 717-231, 20 years of age. And arriving, that was Delta Airlines Flight 1668 from Pensacola. That was a Boeing 737 aircraft. And currently it is 58 degrees out in Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport today, and with southeast winds of 18 miles an hour currently in the direction of my cameraman's camera. So that's why you're getting a lot of wind in the mic out there, is because that wind is directly hitting him at 18 miles an hour. So, you know, great job to the cameraman. Give him a thumbs up. And DJ4, we will see you later. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you being here. And that would be Delta Airlines Flight 2832 arriving from Charleston to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And that flight was 260 miles for those passengers aboard an aircraft Boeing 737-932. 7 years old in age this aircraft is. Welcome to Atlanta. And approaching the runway at Hartsfield International Jackson Airport is Southwest Airlines Flight 2117 arriving from Dallas, Texas. And this aircraft these passengers are on is a Boeing 737-8H4, and the age of this aircraft is 7 years old. That would be Delta Airlines Flight 1801 departing Atlanta and arriving in Montego Bay. And those passengers are on a 1,119-mile trip to Montego Bay aboard that aircraft Airbus A321-211, and that aircraft is 2 years in age. Arriving to Atlanta from Taipei, this is EVA Air Flight 650, and this is a Boeing 777-35R, 16 years of age. Departing Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, we have Delta Airlines Flight 1574 headed to Raleigh-Durham. This is a 360-mile trip, and these passengers are aboard an aircraft Boeing 757-32. This is a 30-year-old airplane as we get the underbelly shot of that aircraft. So you can take a screenshot make it a thumbnail, print it on a postcard.
264, Tango Atlanta Tower, runway 26 right, wind 290 at 18, cleared land, caution wave turbulence, previous arrival,
Arriving out of Norfolk is Delta Flight Airlines Flight 1708. This is an Airbus A321-211, 5 years in age, this aircraft.
Delta 1670, Atlanta Tower, runway 26 left, line up ahead.
Delta 1670, line up away, 26 left.
Level 4891.
That would be Delta Connections Flight 4081-91 from Lafayetteville that arrived. And departing to Myrtle Beach is Delta Airlines Flight 2892. This is an aircraft Boeing 717-2BD, 22 years of age. And departing Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, we have Delta Airlines Flight 2831. Its destination is Baltimore, Maryland. And these passengers are aboard an aircraft type Boeing 737-8EH, and the aircraft's age is 10 years old. It is currently 56 degrees here in Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, and with southeast winds of 18 miles an hour, as you can hear in the mic, with a little of overcast. And departing Atlanta to Punta Cana is Delta Airlines Flight 1916, and this passengers are aboard an aircraft Airbus A321-211, and this aircraft is 4 years old in age. I see Becky Davies is back in the chat. Thank you for returning to watch another live plane spotting from Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And a big thumbs up for USA Live Streams TV for providing this live. And arriving to Atlanta from Houston, Texas, we have Delta Airlines Flight 1284. This was a 688-mile trip for these passengers that took less than an hour and a half to arrive at Atlanta Hartsfield International above an aircraft. They were aboard an aircraft Airbus A320-212, and this aircraft's age is 20 years old.
Arriving at Atlanta is Delta Airlines Flight 2133 coming from Fort Myers. This was a 514-mile trip, about an hour and 15 minutes on a Boeing 757. And this guy is 21 years old. How's everybody doing this morning? I myself am doing pretty good. You know, it's Friday. Yay. Right, coming in. Yeah. Departing Atlanta is Delta Airlines 223. They're going to Norfolk. Fun times. It's an Airbus A321-211. It is 4 years old. They're just going a whopping 520 miles away. Okay. Good morning, Arizona Snowman. All right, also departing from Atlanta is Delta Airlines 1305, and they're headed to Gainesville. This is going to be a short but sweet 302-mile ride on a Boeing 717-28P. This Boeing is 17 years old. We got another one leaving Atlanta, heading for Washington. They are leaving this airport on an Airbus A320 on a Delta Airline flight 418. Oh, this Airbus is 30 years old. We're going a whole 551 miles away from Atlanta this morning. They will be there at 1:55 p.m. Welcome, Calvin. Good afternoon, USA Livestream TV. All right, arriving into Atlanta, it's going to be Delta Airlines Flight 2365. Passengers are aboard an Airbus A319. It's 19 years old. They had a nice flight of 542 miles, which took about an hour from Little Rock to Atlanta. Only takes an hour and 3 minutes. right, departing Atlanta. This is going to be the Southwest Airlines Maryland Wind Livery Flight 1924, and they are headed to the Big Apple, New York. It's just going to be a quick 765-mile trip on a Boeing 737-7H4. This plane is 16 years old. We're going to go to Times Square and try to get on the, what's it show? The Today Show, maybe tomorrow. You know, the things you do in New York. All right. Also departing, we've got Delta Airlines 1938. Leaving Atlanta, headed towards Nassau. Sorry. This is going to be a 729-mile trip. They will arrive in Nassau at 12:30 on a Boeing 737-932. This plane is 5 years old. Next, we've got departing from Atlanta is Delta Airlines Flight 2330. They are going to Charlotte. And this is a short 231 miles on a Boeing 717-2BD. This plane is 16 years old. Calvin's, that was a nice livery. I've never seen such a pretty plane. Leaving Atlanta in this moment is going to be Delta Airlines Flight 1671, and we are headed to Fort Lauderdale. Woohoo! Florida. The passengers are aboard a Boeing 757-232, and this plane is 29 years old. We are just headed a short 582 miles away. And arriving from Orlando is Delta Airlines Flight 859. And they are aboard an aircraft Boeing 757-351. 19 years old. They took a trip for an hour, 404 miles. Safe and sound, back in Atlanta. Delta Airlines Flight 1415. We're headed off to Tampa. Fun time, spring break for, I think college might be on spring break at this time, you know. It's a good time to go down to Florida, sow them wild oats before you go back to your spring semester. All right, this is a Boeing 757-251. And this plane is 20 years old. 407-mile trip these passengers are taking. Not that long. To the Sunshine State. Hit those beaches, enjoy your life, soak up the sun. All right, departing, we've got Southwest Airlines Flight 1859, headed to Pensacola. Passengers are aboard a Boeing 737-752. This guy is 15 years old. Nice little flight of 268 miles. And then we've also got departing Delta Flight 2403, leaving Atlanta, going to Wilmington. I think it's in South Carolina. Yeah. On a Boeing 717 2BD. This plane is 22 years old. There are a lot of Boeing 757s. I guess it's the plane to be on. Taking off. Departing is Delta Air 1470 at Atlanta to Fort Myers. They're going a whopping 515 miles away from Atlanta to Fort Myers on another Boeing 757-232. This beaut is 31 years old. Safe travels to Fort Myers. Is that like a military kind of thing? I don't know. Arriving, we've got Southwest Airlines 6 coming in from Orlando to Atlanta. That has an hour flight, 404 miles on a Boeing 737-8H4. This aeroplane, it's 5 years old. A little nice hop, skip, and a jump from Orlando to Atlanta. All right, taking off, departing from Atlanta to Philadelphia. We've got American Airlines flight 1037 and on an Airbus A320-214. Something different, Kelvin, not another Boeing. This feat is 21 years old. This is going to be a 670-mile trip. So it's going to take about 2 hours. Philadelphia, town of brotherly love. And also I think that's where the Rocky statue is. We figured out the last time I was on here is that's where that is. So run up those stairs, have your Rocky Balboa moment. Scream Adrian from the top of the stairs. You know, have a good time. Arriving from Melbourne is Delta Airlines Flight 2591. This is an Airbus A319-114 on an airplane that is 19 years old. This was a 443-mile trip. It took about an hour and 10 minutes. Hi, Craig B. Thank you for joining us. I kind of like this because sometimes you see airplanes and you wonder where they're going. Now you come on here and we can tell you where these planes are going. Now you can do your own thing. Like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do when they get there. I wonder what they did while they were there. That's fun times for me. I think it's fun and it's interesting and, you know. All right, arriving from Colombia, we've got Delta Airlines Flight 2595, coming from Colombia to Atlanta for a whopping 192 miles, about a 45-minute flight. Passengers are aboard a Boeing 717-2BD, and this plane is 21 years old. That's cool, Craig B. Cameraman is readjusting, so I don't know. Let's just hang out. What's everyone gonna do this afternoon? I think I personally might head to the park. What about you, Arizona Snowman? What's your day look like?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming in to USA live streams, and thank you for being here, and we appreciate it. And please hit that thumb up button as you are exiting. We will be back live again, I believe, tomorrow. So please, everybody, set your calendars to March 29th. We will be plane spotting in JFK Airport on the 29th, which is next Tuesday. And